Good evening. It's my pleasure to welcome this year's final Distinguished Speaker Series guest, and a man who needs no introduction, Coach Mike Krzyzewski. Over the course of his 39 years leading Duke's men's basketball team, Coach K has built an incredible legacy of success on and off the court. The banners hanging from inside Cameron tell it all. He's a 5-time national champion, 12-time Final Four participant, the most winningest men's basketball coach in Division I history, and a member of the Naismith Hall of Fame. Off the court, Coach K is the strongest ambassador and advocate for Duke University and the Durham community. Through his leadership and mentorship, he has not only shaped the lives of his student athletes, but he's also elevated the university's brand on a global scale. People around the world know Duke University because of Coach K. Coach K also has a special relationship with Fuqua. He serves as an executive in residence, and his Center on Leadership and Ethics, otherwise known as COLE, is a core part of Fuqua's mission to empower leaders of consequence. It is without a doubt that Coach K embodies these leadership qualities that we cultivate and develop here each day. Yet among his greatest accomplishments, Coach K is a father of 3 daughters and grandfather of 9. 10. Correction. A grandfather of 10. Please join me in welcoming the greatest of all time, Coach Mike Krzyzewski.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm really happy to be here, having started the day in India and arrived at school 20 minutes ago. But I'm even happier to have Coach K here with us. And I have to tell you that of all the things that we've done at the business school, one of the things I'm proudest of is the partnership that we have with Coach K. And I thought that I would reveal a previously unknown random fact, which is just to show you how deep this partnership is. A number of years ago, Coach asked if I would help out in meeting with a recruit. And I have to tell you that it did not go well. Needless to say, the person did not come to Duke. And so in this partnership, Coach has since clarified our respective roles, which is he does everything, I do nothing. And ever since then, it's been like we're the dynamic duo.
It's great.
So, I'm so happy. But
we didn't want him anyway. Yeah, just, I'd rather have you.
Okay. I don't remember the thank you note, but so to be serious, it's an incredible privilege for our community to have someone who, in my opinion, is one of the finest leaders from any domain of his generation. And it's just extraordinary to be able to learn from you. And one of the things that we all share within this room is that we all chose to be a part of the Duke community, and that choice can have lifelong implications. And I want to illustrate that by the choice that you made in going to West Point. And that, I think, has had a lifelong implications in terms of your leadership journey. But my first question is, did you want to go to West Point?
No, I did not want to go to West Point, although I must tell you, because you all are into commitment and relationships and whatever, so hopefully good ones and productive. But this June 4th, it will be my 50th anniversary for my graduation at Duke. But also my wife and I will be celebrating we got married on graduation day. So I'm glad I went to West Point because I wouldn't have met her. And I'm also glad that I went to West Point because I it served as a foundation for the rest of my life, including my 5 years as an Army officer in the field artillery. And I did not want to go to West Point. I grew up in the inner city of Chicago, and my mom never went to high school. My dad went to 2 years. My mom cleaned offices at the Chicago Athletic Club, and my dad was an elevator operator. There used to be people like that. And I was a really good basketball player in the Catholic League. And it wasn't like recruiting now. I wouldn't have been a pro player, but I was a really good college player. And I had offers. I was probably going to go to Creighton or Wisconsin. And West Point came in. And Bob Knight was the coach. And when West Point came in, my parents said, "You're going." And I said, "Look, me and tanks and Jeeps, no way. And I don't like guns that much." And they said, "Well, that's where presidents go." And my mom's dad and my dad's, their family came from Poland. So we were, are you kidding me? You could skip like just generations by going there. And at 18, I didn't know that. So I said no, because I was a headstrong punk. Still pretty headstrong, overcame punk, most of it. And for 2 weeks, literally, in our flat in the inner city of Chicago, my mom and dad would speak Polish when they didn't want me and my brother to understand what the hell was going on. And they would go, "Just pretend this is Polish, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, stupid, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, Mike." And it's true. It's for 2 weeks, boom, boom, boom. I said, "All right, I'll go." And I call it the best decision I never made. And but I made it because, and this isn't alive and well as much anymore, I trusted my parents. I trusted them, and I didn't want to let them down. And the many times I wanted to quit West Point, I did not quit, not because of me. I did it because I was already on a team that didn't believe in quitting. I didn't know that, but when going through it, I did know it. And it really, I never take my West Point ring off. The 2 rings I never take off are my wedding ring and my West Point ring. I did take it off one time. The stone broke, and I put it in a drawer, and my wife had a Duke stone put in it. So it's, to me, one of the great, great rings. It reminds me every day of the union of West Point and Duke, and how could that be better? But it also reminds me of the union of me and my wife. It's a pretty damn good set of rings, is what
So you're famously honest with your recruits, and I wonder, was Coach Knight honest with you, and that he wasn't going to let you shoot?
You know, me and Knight that's a whole nother story. So I was lucky to go to West Point and although Cole's great and whatever, I feel, no, it's second to, it's not the best leadership school in the world. West Point is. And because that's what we do. And then Knight was one of the geniuses. And so I got, as this point guard and captain and a cadet for 4 years, I got a double dose of greatness. And even at times when I didn't want to get the greatness, from both entities. And I learned an amazing amount. And I'll be forever grateful to him. I don't have a relationship with him anymore, but still I'm forever grateful. And obviously I'm forever grateful with West Point. I'm going to speak to the Corps Cadets in a couple of weeks and go up there and celebrate our 50th reunion for a little bit, not a lot. All my guys are retired, my classmates, so they're smoking pipes or smoking something, I don't know. I'll find out more at the reunion, you know, what the hell they're doing. But I told them, I said, look, I can't spend 5 days up there. I actually run a big-time business. And you guys are farting around up there, and I'm trying to recruit and keep our Fortune, whatever, 100 company going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are three things that you first learned at West Point that you have taken to the next level over the course of your career, and I'm sure it's more than three, but three I want to focus on. The first one is something that I've heard you say, which is you will fail, but failure is not a destination. And as I think about some of the things that you've done, one of the things that you're very well known for is the idea of next play.
Right.
And in fact, when I met the CEO of LinkedIn, he said, don't you have a basketball coach at Duke? You know, he knew nothing about the basketball team, but he knew everything about your next play philosophy has rebuilt LinkedIn around that premise. Tell us how you came up with the next play idea and how you put it to work.
Well, I truly believe it, that, you know, whether you're in your own life, you're on a continuum, right? I mean, whatever just happened, but you're going to keep happening, I would hope. And so you never let what just happened stop you from happening again. And that's whether with great success or failure. When I went to West Point, I had only done things that I was good at. I was the golden boy in my neighborhood, family, and whatever. And I didn't know how to swim. I didn't know a whole bunch of things. I didn't know how to tie a knot, pitch a tent. I didn't know a whole, and when I got to West Point, I got my butt kicked. You know, I got my butt kicked. And so did a lot of other people. And basically I learned that when you're getting your butt, it's called changing a limit. And so many parents today don't allow their kids to change limits. They're worried about them failing instead of learning. And you learn through the experience of failure and success. And basically, you know, they'd say, get your ass up and get going. And so that's where the failure was never a destination. But along with that, they teach you that you don't do it alone. In other words, use the resources that are around you. And you know, this is a cool, do you have time for a quick story? So this is a quick story. They have a thing called Beast Barracks. I don't know what the hell they call it now. The first 6 weeks in the summer, and they just knock the hell out of you. And there's a thing called a clothing formation. And so I might be in fatigues, okay? And our whole unit's in fatigues. And we come back, and the upperclassmen say, you have 3 minutes to be in dress gray. Holy crap. So we immediately act like animals. I have 2 roommates. We're fighting. We're doing everything. We're trying to get in our dress gray. And we finally get down, and we're all late. And so there's a late line, and they're yelling at, but they stop. And there are 2 guys who had already been in the military. They're down there in time. They're killing them. And they're killing them because they said, look, you're either all out here or none of you are out here. It's an unbelievable lesson. Same thing with my 2 roommates. They, you know, a week later, we're doing it again, and we're late, but we're late together. And then, this sounds nuts, but one of the big accomplishments that summer for me was making it with my 2 roommates in time, and we felt like we just conquered the world, man. And so throughout the experience of, you have to fail in order to, or you have to look bad a little bit, man. And that's not alive and well. Even the kids that I coach today, taking a realistic look at yourself is not something they're accustomed to doing. They never put on, they don't do Facebook, but all the stuff that they're on, they don't put crap on there where they look bad. It's only where they look good. And so when you show them on tape, how you talk to them. It's a big change in how you communicate with them. And I was fortunate that I learned that during that time.
Yep. How do you reconcile the tension between trying to make sure that you don't have people arrive at a destination of failure and look forward versus also making sure that you remember the lessons of why you did fail? And famously, I think you lost by many, many points, maybe 43, to Virginia. And after that game, someone said, here's to forgetting this game, and your response was, here's to never forgetting.
Yeah, the thing that my third year, our first 3 years here, we were 38 and 47. We've won well over 1,000 games. We've played 230 games where we were the #1 team in the country. We've been #1 more weeks than any conference in my time here. But we were 38 and 47 at one time. And there's an Iron Dukes, they're our fundraisers. And I created a new thing my first 3 years called the Concerned Iron Dukes. and they were concerned about me no, it's true, man. That particular game, we lost to Ralph Sampson in Virginia in the Omni in Atlanta, 109 to 66. And when we walked out, I was like a leper. Now, during that time, my wife and one of my daughters went to an Iron Duke function. And when they walked in, there was a hush because they were all meeting about how they were going to get the AD to fire me. And so when we went to eat as a staff to a Denny's or whatever, one of the guys from Sports Information said, here's to this, here's to forgetting. I said, put the damn glass down. I get chills thinking about it because it's one of those defining moments where you say, okay, that's it, man. And I said, here's to never forgetting it. Literally, we beat Virginia 23 straight times. And it was the start of us building what we've become, which is pretty damn good. And failure was not going to be our destination. Now, thank goodness I had Terry Sanford as my president and Tom Butters as my AD who believed in me. And Tom believed in me 3 times, big, when he hired me because I wasn't the popular choice then. And then in the middle of my career at 94, 95, I got really sick and lost all feeling and was going to give it up. And he told me, you get well, we'll wait forever for you. And I'm going to cry a little bit because he's passed, and you need people to believe in you. And I've had it, and also it's the biggest statement you can tell anybody is I believe in you. The biggest, especially if you mean it. And you're not bullshitting them or whatever. And more, look, you said I love you a lot of times and you don't mean it. But if you say I believe in you and you follow it up, then that person's not alone in their belief of themselves. So then when they are trying to figure out, do I believe in me? If you have someone else that does that, it gets you over the bridges of doubt that all of us have to cross. So,
yeah. So, second thing that you took away from West Point is this idea of being a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
And so a couple things I want you to comment on. One is really just what happened here, which is early in your career, you had, let's just say, limited emotional range, where the kind of fiery emotions were dominant. And over time, you've got like every emotion that's available to you, and you use those emotions. You are unafraid to be vulnerable. You're unafraid to say, I'm going to cry. And how did you learn to use all those emotions in a productive way when some of those, people say, no, you got to be strong all the time?
Well, a big thing was being married to Mickey Marsh for 50 years and having 3 daughters. Because I came from a total guy, you know, my brother, God bless him, my older brother, Bill, as a captain of the fire department in Chicago, passed 5 years ago. But it was just me and Bill, all boys, Catholic high school. West Point was all boys. The military was all men. And I learned to listen, which we don't do very well as guys. And I learned that there were other ideas and feelings. And it really helped me immensely and continues to help me. The other thing is to learn to be, to take a look at yourself and truthfully and say, what the hell are you doing right? What are you doing wrong? To watch yourself. Like I started after a while watching myself coach after the season, like my communication skills. And then I started a lot of public speaking in the early 90s. I speak for the Washington Speakers Bureau. And I would analyze what I did, like, why am I doing that? Oh, that's good. And I started to understand that the words you say have to be like a big-time major league pitcher. Even if you have a fastball, you throw it at different speeds, and then you come up with different pitches. The fact is, how do you use the knowledge and the talent that you have so that it's received by the person catching the ball? And being at Fuqua, you know, in the conferences and that, and also the speaking, I've learned from watching other teams, business teams, you know, that are, you know, startups, trying to continue, tough, and then I continue to try to learn in that regard, and because it's not what you know, it's what your team hears you say and understands it so they can instinctively react. And so many people get caught up with just what they know and not how what they know is disseminated to a group or the team that they have. And you know, I continue to learn about that because I have to. I'm 72 years old. Zion Williamson and RJ are 18. They're 18 years old. I'm 54 years older than them. Shoot, that's a lot. You know,
it's 4 times older, yes.
And why is it that we have an incredible relationship? And I have to constantly learn how to do that, or else it's not going to work. And I think it's fascinating. I love just studying that and looking at it, and I'm going to continue to do that. Even I'm going to coach for a while more, but even after I coach, that's something I want to do. Yeah.
So, you know, your ability to connect with people, one of the things that you've observed is that in connecting with younger people today, you figured out you have to make them feel to learn, as opposed to just telling them. That's been a big shift. I mean, how did you get that insight?
Yeah, and you have to show more. You know, they're very visual, and you can't talk to them for a long time. You can't, you know. So you better have your stuff together, and get their attention. But also, like, I have a unbelievable office on the 6th floor of the Schwartz Butters building, and it's like a museum, yeah, with Olympics, everything. But I stay most of the time in a small office in the locker room area. And I do that, like I just got through working out and ran into a few of my players. We have a little kitchen in between, and their locker room, a steam room, and I have impromptu meetings. I listen to their music. I'll put on some of my stuff, Motown and all that, and we try to connect. And I use humor a lot, like just like give each other a little, back and forth, and get messages across that way. I have to break down the barriers of age and them coming in and thinking I'm like a statue or, whatever. No, of being like this, Coach K, whoever, whatever the hell they think. You got to make them think, no, I am with you, and I want you to be with me. And that's a bit, and it can't be through emails and Snapchat and all the other bull crap. There's got to be some personal stuff. I text them. I'm not an emoji guy. Okay? I don't even. When someone sends me,
was that false advertising?
Yeah, no. I'm a Bitmoji, which is. I don't understand the trail of emojis. Somebody will send me something, they'll send a message, and I'll have 8 of those damn things. What the hell are you talking about? Just put it down, man. And I go back and forth, and self-deprecating humor is good too, where everyone's saying, man, I can't believe I can't, whatever it is. But humor is important. It's really important.
So back to this emotional range thing and how you watch yourself on tape. Have you watched yourself on tape with referees?
Yeah.
And so have you tried expanding your emotional range there? Maybe crying?
I just wish they would do that too. The dumb son of a buckets. They stay the same. They're. You know what helped me a lot? Coaching the U.S. team, and for 11 years, and you get, obviously working with those guys, we're talking specifically about the administration of a game with officials. One thing I tried to get across to my guys was whenever, we might have a game where the referees are from Romania, Brazil, and Italy, or wherever, China or whatever. That is probably the biggest game they've ever had. I said, LeBron, Kobe, they know you. Don't look bad on a call or anything, because there's a chance that they will go off and be hurt by that. Like in the Olympics and the World Championships that I coached, I hardly ever said like a negative thing to an official. Just because and it helped me, I think, then in the last decade or so, change my style a little bit more. Although these officials don't deserve it, like the international officials, but I'm a benevolent guy and trying to help them along.
So you mentioned before another thing you learned at West Point, which is you can't do it alone, and you need a team. And so you have a really interesting philosophy on what it means to be a great member of a team, where you recruit people specifically for the idea that they will be great team members, but then you tell people, I want you to have a big ego. I mean, I don't want you to shy away from being individually great. So how do you get people to be team players while being individually great and bringing all that together?
Yeah, well, it's difficult, and especially more now because they want more instant greatness and so you have to celebrate the accomplishments of everyone on your team. Like this past year, a year ago, not this past season, a season ago, we had really good talent, but they were younger and a little bit insecure. Excuse me. The older guys on my team were definitely insecure. And so it was an attitude or whatever, but we were never able to completely overcome that. And so in analyze, and we didn't know that all the way through, you know, but in trying to figure out how can we get better. This past summer, we tried, and we did a good job of celebrating the role of the role player. Whenever we watched tape and whatever, you know, you didn't have to talk too much about RJ and Zion and whatever, but you talked about Jack and Marquise and Javin and these guys, Alex, and that worked, I thought, much better. And we were such a cohesive, we had a great group this year, not a good one. These kids were off the charts good. You couldn't tell who was a senior or freshman when they were, how they ate or whatever. And they got knocked back. We got knocked back through some injury adversity, and the main one being Zion being out for 3.5 weeks, and when he was. And he didn't come back till postseason. And we lost continuity. And we didn't have time, even though they came close, there wasn't time. We were never as good as we were before that, although we were really good. And, but that's part of it. But as far as working together, all those guys felt important, which, you know, we made it a point of emphasis, and it's what we tried to do.
So another dimension in terms of having a great team is the extent to which you pour yourself into that team to the detriment of other teams that you're on. And so people talk about this in terms of work-life balance.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you've alluded to the role that your wife and daughters have played. You've done something very interesting, which is you've taken some barriers between work and personal life by creating a starting five, which is you, your wife, and 3 daughters. And you've also done something which is, in a male-dominated world, you've brought in 4 women to play a significant role to give you more insight in terms of how you can do better with your day job. So tell me how you figured that out over time, how to bring that kind of balance and insight.
Well, first of all, I married a good-looking girl who was so damn smart and creative. And she was a stewardess for United Airlines, and she could sing, she acted, and then she gave up a lot of that when I became the coach at West Point before coming here, and pretty much said, you know, we have to do this together. And then we did, and she was so creative in what we did as a program with banquets, poster, everything. And we had the kids over our house. We still have the team over our house. And I saw what my wife and my daughters, their impact on my guys, you know, and it, you know, I got smart girls, man, and they're tough. You know, they're not afraid to tell a guy buzz off, or, you know, boy, you shouldn't do that. Why are you with that girl? You know, like how could you be, you know, what do you mean? Like, you shouldn't be with that girl. I mean, I couldn't say that to a guy, you know. Girls get away with saying anything to guys. And so having that around them all the time is good. Another thing, I have my 10 grandchildren. They come to games. After a game, a bunch of them are in our locker room and whatever. And so they've created, we have a family, literally a family. And my guys, over the years now, they've created this thing called the brotherhood, which is alive and well, where all my former players, they believe they're part of a brotherhood. You know, we send out boxes twice a year with shirts, shoes, and whatever. And whether you're from 1983 or you're from 2013, they're brothers. And one of the biggest proponents of that is Kyrie, even though he was here 1 year. And so that, I don't know, just like a family. And all my assistants are my former players. And that's been a force multiplier for us, man. You know, and then they own it. You know, how can you, and wherever you're going to do, have your family own your job? It's going to be tough. They do. And the cool thing is my assistants and their families own the job too. And what's really good is my infrastructure own it also. Pretty good. Pretty good. So I do it, in trying to teach that to my team, this is a pretty cool, very mundane, very easy exercise. Pretend this is a piece of paper, it's my handkerchief. I haven't blown my nose in or anything, it's clean, just so, don't be, all right, thank you. Thank you. Might as well have the right prop. So every once in a while, early on in the season with my team, during the day, I might, in the middle of now it'll be a small piece of paper, I'll leave it in the middle of the floor, okay? And then we have practice, we have everything, and late in the day, I'll see if it's still there. So I'm not even gonna say what year it is, but one of the years, the paper was still there. So the next day of practice, you know, before practice, we give them some feedback and whatever, and I said, hey, by the way, you guys, you know, did any of you see that damn piece of paper that was on the floor? And I said, come on, man. Some of you saw the damn piece of paper on the floor. And I put it there, and it was still there at the end. Now, my question to all of you is, why didn't you pick it up? Well, no one's going to pick up their hand or whatever. So I'm going to answer that for you. You didn't pick the damn piece of paper up because when you saw it, you said it's not your paper. Okay? What I'm going to tell you is, it wasn't my paper either, but it's my damn floor. Okay? And if this is going to be your floor, pick up the damn piece of paper. In other words, own the floor. It's a subtle but really good thing. And that's what we're trying to create. You're trying to create all the time ownership. You know, when I have the privilege of talking to the military, and I did it a lot more coaching the U.S. team, they always have an away game. Thank goodness, right? Oh, thank goodness. You know, now I've talked to units that are just going to be deployed or whatever, and I said, you know, I know you have rules of engagement that sometimes put your arms behind your back and whatever, but understand that whoever you're fighting, it's their home. Just understand that. They will have something that's very difficult for you to create. However, if you're a great unit and own your unit, you have a greater chance to be successful in it. It's really so fundamentally, I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? You know, the thing that doesn't make sense is that why people won't pick up the damn piece of paper. That to me, I don't understand that. And so I'm not gonna tolerate that. Like, you shouldn't be here. What do you rent? Or what the hell? Renters don't win. Owners win. Owners win. So anyway, hopefully you didn't rent your experience here at Fuqua. You owned it, all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit of basketball. You went into the Hall of Fame about 20 years ago, and since then there have been huge changes in the college basketball landscape, and you've adapted, and you've been incredibly successful in the one and done era. You would go back in the Hall of Fame again if you weren't already there. But now we're coming up to another transition, which is the idea of getting rid of the one and done era and letting people go right into the pros. And of course, after Zion's shoe explosion, that noise intensified. You know, how can we have these people not getting paid, and so on and so forth. But I had an interesting conversation with two GMs from the NBA where I said, I assume you're looking forward to the ability to have people come right in. And they said, absolutely not.
No, they're not.
So what do we know about developing young men relative to Coach K? Mm-hmm. And so they're scared to death to enter into this era. And so then combine that with the reality, which is if you go to the right program and you get the right coach that helps develop that talent that you have, and you get exposure where the reality is you're getting enormous brand building opportunity in the college game. So my question is it completely naive to think that some people might continue to choose the college experience in the new era?
Well, the very first thing is that hasn't happened yet. And we react to what the NBA and the Players Union will decide. So that's on the table a few years from now. Whether they do it or they will not do it unless the G League is developed at a higher level. My feeling is, see, college basketball doesn't do anything except react because they have no leadership. And so they had kids going straight out of high school. I coached a number of them in the Olympics, you know, whether it be LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, you know, a bunch of them who turned out to be successful. There'd be a bunch that wouldn't turn out to be successful. So we should be able to coordinate a plan. All the caretakers in the game of basketball, from when a kid is in high school until he finishes at 38 or whatever it is, we should all be on the same page on how to make this the best for that kid. Because we are who we are because of them, but we don't take care of them. We don't talk about them. When they say, though, Bill, if it does go through, it'll be the end of one and done. It will not be the end of one and done, because there'll still be a kid that will come here for 1 year, and if he's good enough, he's going to go. Mm-hmm. Kids just go. They do it. Look, undergraduates go. Yeah, if they got something that's going to make them a lot of money, you know, tennis player, then a lot of people go earlier. And remember, these kids have a dog's life of earning as in what they do. You know, in other words, if they're good enough at 18 and they can get 2 or 3 more years, it could be worth $100 million or more. And so we should provide that. But I think it's not just going, it's making it. And so a kid with talent, if the talent isn't developed enough and the people skills are not developed enough, the demons of not having balance will corrupt or lessen the physical talents. And so I'm lucky to be at Duke because, I mean, I think I teach some of these things, but Duke does. I mean, they got to go to school. They're around talent. They're around every gender, every nationality, every race, every religion. They are around the world here. And all those people have talent. And that's the world that they're going to be. It's balance. Zion Williamson, as good as, is better. You know, I don't know if you saw his, when he declared the thing he put out, he said, this is the best year of my life. You know, and that's a big sacrifice. If the G League doesn't do that, they're they're going to get less. They're smart enough to know that. We have developed and marketed their players, you know. And Jason Tatum, we're real close. If he comes straight out of St. Louis, Chaminade High School, I think he's still going to be good. He comes out of Duke, and it's not just Duke, but a top program. He has a brand. He's developed. You know, his chance to stay and make that next contract big, because you have a graduated contract for 4 years or 3. At the end of 3 years, a rookie, if he's good enough, he can get. If you're Kyrie, you get a max extension. But you got to make it, man. Otherwise, you can wash out. And so I worry about that. And then if they do that and a kid washes out, once he's a pro, could he come back? You know, we have to figure that out so they don't get screwed, you know, like somehow. But we're not figuring that out. So it's not happening. And no, it's not happening. For 25 years, I've recommended that, like, you know who Adam Silver is? He's the head of, he's the face, right? And he's the leader. Who runs college basketball? You don't know. I don't know either. No, I don't know. A committee. You know, well, just so you know, that's not the way to run a railroad, you know? And there should be pinpoint responsibility. And then a lot of things like this movement, it should be done with talent, knowledge, and relationships. You know, Adam Silver, Michelle Rock, all the people with the Players Union, they should know this person. And every they should be together. So as they're moving forward, we do this the right way. You know, men's college basketball is $1 billion business that is the most poorly led in the world. And it really pays for everything in the NCAA. You know, football doesn't pay 1 cent. Now, they pay a lot for conferences. But the NCAA gets nothing from football, not 1 cent. You know, men's college basketball pays for everything. And you would think that it would be run by a Fuqua graduate.
There we go. So for your best teams, you've always talked about the importance of leadership within the team and having essentially a coach on the floor who can make the decisions in the moment. So how big is it for you having your point guard come back next year?
Well, just thank you, God, It's big. I love that kid, and we haven't had that for a while since Tyus and Quinn Cook in 2015. And nothing against the other guys, but no one that leads in real time. You know, like if you eventually become the CEO or head of a department, whatever, that's cool in what you're doing, but you need a lot of people who lead in real time that will use your principle, you know, like they take care of things before it gets to you. And he did that well, still not as well as he will, because I still think even though he commanded the respect of everybody, he didn't know how to use that all the time. And he ended up at times watching. And I'm not knocking him. I mean, I watch too, but I'm going to teach him how to have more of an influence. And we have a really good group coming in. We're not through with recruiting. We think there's going to be more, and he'll have a big influence on them, and will feel more comfortable. And so when you're developing that in a company or whatever, it's really an interesting thing, because with the one and done, we've gravitated where my best players are young, the most talented. And, you know, like Javin and Jack were captains, but they didn't have the oomph, you know, to do all that stuff. Trey did and did it and helped us. I believe next year, you know, he's going to do it even better. This kid's a fabulous kid, man. And we are really close. And in 1 year, you know, it's been amazing. Although I've recruited him since he was in 7th grade because of Tyus. He actually, in 7th grade, wanted to come. He helped us with Tyus. And then he prolonged the recruiting a little bit. I said, what the hell are you doing, man? And he said, I just wanted to be needed. So after I punched him, and we're all set now. All
right. I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'll turn it over to the audience for some questions. So about, I think, 2 years ago, we co-hosted the Coach K Fuqua Center of Leadership and Ethics conference, and the theme was the expectation that leaders of all kinds are now going to be expected to comment on what's happening in society. They're going to be drawn in some way. And so you talked to the people there, and you talked about how you had responded to House Bill 2 and how you had responded to the controversy around people kneeling during the national anthem. And let's just say at the end of your talk, the audience was begging you to run for president. Mm-hmm. And so here's my question, which is, if the unthinkable happens, which is that someday you decide to give up being the basketball coach at Duke, can we extract a promise that you will then run for president?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there are a lot of Carolina people that would vote for me. And you know what? When you graduate from West Point, you take an oath. And it's an oath to serve your country, whether it be in the service or civilian life for the rest of your life. And it's a bond that all of us as graduates have. And so I'll do that forever, not in public office. And, you know, as long as I have this passion, I want to coach, you know, and we have an incredible platform that's been created because we've won. And the manner in which we've won is, for the most part, been looked upon really good. And I love that. It gives me meaning. You know, I can't tell you the literally thousands of letters and requests we get during the year. And it makes you feel good to honor them. And have somebody just say, that letter, that call got me through something. To me, that's a way that I want to serve. And where it's not public, no one knows about it, except the people involved. And it's, you know, it's just like, I was talking to my best friend today. My best friend is a guy named Mo. And all my buddies have different names than what their names are. You know, there's Mo, Twams, Dicker, Stosh, Wally Cross the Alley, Applehead, and anyway. But Mo is Dennis Malinsky, and he's been my friend since we were 6. And we are great, great friends. And we were, you know, he said, I'm Mick. I grew up Mick, you know. Mick, how you doing? And I said, no, I'm doing great. He says, well, you know, you lost. I said, no, Mo, come on, man. How can I not be doing great? You know, and he says, well, and I explained how the season ended and whatever. He says, well, I understand. He says, you know, and I understand. He said, there are a few people, you know, that, you know, when we talk, they get, you know, they criticize. I said, don't pay attention to that. I said, really, if I did this based on a claim or criticism, bad. Just bad. I got to do it because of what I think I'm doing. And that's cool if you think I'm doing it's great. It's not a motivator. And if there are a multitude of people who think I'm doing something bad, I'm going to take a look at it to see, am I really doing that? Or are you just jealous? Or what's your motivation to give me criticism? Or what the hell do you know? So when they have all this people on TV, and look, there's a reason you're on TV. You don't have a job. Right? No, really. Your job is because you don't have a job, and you're criticizing people who have a job. Bottom line, that's what the hell it is, And so I just say, Mo, don't worry about it, man. We're good. We're good. Let's pursue this next team and finish recruiting and get all these guys drafted high and enjoy the tremendous year that we had. And then let's have another one, man. And that's my goal. I want to have great years, and I'm not going to let anyone ruin it. And so that's where. What the hell, all right? And the cool thing about is, we're the only team that starts out the year saying our goal is to win the national championship. So when we don't do it, then we failed. Come on. Like someone said, boy, that was disappointing. This season was disappointing? Where the hell have you been? We have more Duke fans now from watching these kids and how they played, their joy. And yeah, we're disappointed at the end. Are you disappointed about going through all that? Come on. You got to be an idiot to say that. So when you say that, put your dunce cap on, because I'm looking at you. And I'm saying, you're an idiot. Now, I won't say that publicly, but oh, really? That's, you idiot. So now when I do something really, when I screw up, I look in the mirror and say, you idiot. So I'm not just calling someone else that. I say that to myself a number of times. Anyway, I hope some of this is okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this is more than okay. This is great. So we have time for one or two questions.
Sure. Hello, test. Coach, thank you for being such an inspirational leader. A question that I have for you are there aspects of your life where you consider yourself a follower?
A follower? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the main follower I am is in my faith. And so I believe in something bigger than me. And I believe this thing lasts forever. And so that's the main follower I am. But also just in a human race type of thing. I'm going to listen to somebody, and if I think that makes sense, I'll follow that. I'll follow the example. And so, yeah, in that regard. I also believe that, as good as you are in anything, the game you play is bigger than you. And so I'm a follower of the game. Like Tony Bennett, Virginia just won the national championship. Last year when they lost in that first round game, we actually had an NCAA game the next day. And I called him the next morning just to check on him. Because I think he's really good, and I think he's good for the game. After they won, I texted him, and right after, the next morning, said your kids were tough and together. They were really good. He got back to me and said, thanks, coach, and really good. And then a minute later, he texts me again. And he says, I wanted to relay a crazy story to you. He said in 2011 or something, they're playing us, and they're here the night before at a shoot-around. And Joe Harris, who's with the Brooklyn Nets, who's a really good player, is on the team. And they're in a shoot-around, and Tony's not there. So the guy says, where's Coach Bennett? Where's Coach Bennett? And they look, and he's in our stands right below our national championship banners. And then he starts yelling. He says, this is where we want to be. It's a cool story. And he said, I just want you to know, because what you've done in your career has helped inspire me. And I said, well, that's crazy. And then he had also mentioned, he said, I never thought that I would be in this club, the national championship club. So I texted him back, I said, it's a crazy story, unbelievable. And I said, by the way, welcome to the club. And we expected you to be here. In fact, we expect you to be here multiple times. Congratulations, and enjoy it with your family and your program. And I think in any profession, look, it doesn't mean you're not competitive, but there are other people who do it well. And you can say someone was lucky because they missed a free throw and they got this, and well, you're lucky too. But he's really good. I know we're really good. And we should promote the game. The game, we are all followers and privileged to be the followers of a great game. And we need to take care of it, especially if we have the status. Actually, I talked to him. I had him on my Sirius XM show the next day. And I said, you got to do more now. You got to do more for the game. Your platform's bigger. People really admire you. You're not like me and Boeheim. We're not very good looking. You're good looking. I had to throw Boeheim in there. So I think I'm a little bit better looking than him, but maybe not as smart or as good a personality. But that type of thing. We're all followers in some respect.
Okay, last question.
Thank you, Coach K. I really liked your response to your friend Mo's question. So the question that I have is, when RJ Barrett and your players get criticism, what's the guidance that you give them, and any other kind of guidance that you give your players who are now 18 years old but suddenly have millions of followers, tweet mentions, etc.?
Well, it's a good question, especially in today's day, and it'll only get more, where when they do make a mistake and we lose, I got their back. Like, we win and we lose, and I'll tell them, but I tell them, like you want to be on this big stage, just try to do what I've just talked about and be your own judge. The thing with social media is a huge thing. And we're able to handle it better. To me, if I didn't coach, and maybe even while I am coaching, I would like to investigate what it's doing with young teenage kids. All I know is 2 of my grandkids are twin girls at 15. It's a crappy world out there. And how do you stand up to social media criticism for them? It's easy for RJ. He's going to make $1 zillion bucks and plays at Duke, and we can just tell him to all go to hell. No, really. We have we're good. And we're accomplished, and we have a program, and come on. So say what the hell you want, we're going to be all right. But if you're a 15-year-old kid and somebody puts on group chat for your class, like Carly is really fat or she wears transgender clothes. What do you do? That happens, by the way. Crap like that. You know, how do you, because I'm going through these things with my grandkids now, the amount of social pressure on kids today before they have accomplished, RJ has accomplished, is really one of the things in our society that we have to be able, as teachers, be able to handle. It's a crisis, I think. It's a real crisis, and you know, and that's the thing. If I was going to study something or whatever, I'd like to try to figure that out or give knowledge to teachers today at that level of how they can help their students. Because if Carly and Emmy are in a better state of mind, they're going to learn what you're teaching them better. If they are, while they're in school, the victims of really bad social media stuff, no way. No way will they learn. And so part of our educational process, and the other thing is teaching people not to be mean. We have the leader of our country being so damn mean and, you know, a lack of values in what he says. It's a horrible example. Like, and everyone can say what things are happening with economy and whatever. I worry about our value structure in our country. Like, where you can get away with saying anything because you have that spot. I think it's bad. In fact, I don't think, it is bad. It is really bad. And all I know is our country has been built on values. You know, a belief in values. And if we sacrifice values for money or power or whatever, like really, even in our own, how can we be bipartisan? How can we sit and this whole side thinks one thing and you gotta be kidding me. You mean there aren't some things you think the same on? You know, like, are you guys idiots? Are you people idiots? Like, what the hell is happening, man? You know, like, you know, when people go into schools and shoot people, are we not? Why would anybody need an automatic weapon? You know, to hunt? What the hell? Is there a herd of buffalo coming right at you? Yeah, just, yeah. No, just some of this crap makes, it pisses me off. I'll tell you what. Now it sounds like I'm running for something, but yeah. At the end of the day, when you look at the history of the world, governments and countries that have collapsed as a result of a lack of values. That's a common denominator, and we should be the leaders in that. And right now we're not. You know, no question. I don't know who is, but we're not, and that sucks. That to me that sucks. As a West Point graduate, and that I'm not big on that. So again, I'm sorry to go off on that, but. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But what I'm saying is right. Yeah.
So we've
at least I have a conviction, right, of what.
So we've actually come full circle where, in fact, we started with these values that you brought forward from West Point And here we are, all in the room. We have values that we share being a part of this amazing Duke community, and I hope you bring those values forward in your lives. And with that.
Yeah, and good luck to all of you.
Coach K, on behalf of the whole Fuqua community, thanks so much for joining us tonight and capping off a great year for DSS. It was a very thoughtful conversation, including some great insights on emojis as well.
Yeah, well,
so
thank you all.
Please join me in giving Coach K one more round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.